This moment is not a coincidence of fate, but an encounter your soul was waiting for. What you are about to hear today is the answer that heaven has silently and lovingly kept for your current situation. Nothing around you at this moment is a mistake. You are here because your faith has overcome any obstacle that tried to silence this message. Stay with me until the end, because together we're going to discover why this is the exact time for your spiritual restoration. Sometimes, life feels like a series of obstacles. You try to move forward, you look for a sign, and it seems like the path is blocked again and again. But I want to tell you something fundamental. When something has a potential to transform your heart, the difficulties in receiving it increase. It's not a technical glitch, nor a coincidence of an algorithm. It's evidence that what God had prepared for you is so precious that it deserves to be protected until it reaches you at the perfect time. Today, as you listen to these words, I want you to let go of the idea that chance brought you here. The Holy Spirit doesn't work by chance, but with clear purposes. If you are hearing this, it's because a window of clarity is opened in your life, one that no barrier has been able to close. Take a moment to feel the significance of this personal encounter. We often feel like just another face in the crowd, but heaven sees you as an individual. If you choose to ignore this call now, you could carry that feeling of something missing for a long time. That's why I invite you to give it your full attention. I know you've spent sleepless nights. I know there have been moments of loneliness where silence seemed to be the only answer to your prayers. Perhaps you felt lost on the map of divine blessings, but today heaven confirms that your name is engraved with love and that something beautiful is being prepared for you. All that waiting wasn't abandonment. It was a necessary period of preparation so that you could hold on to the peace that is about to arrive. Every tear you have shed in secret has not fallen into oblivion. They have been seeds of a faith that, though whispered, has powerfully reached the Father's presence. This message is not a mere motivational speech. It is a reminder that your perseverance has been seen and your faithfulness will be honored. Please, if you feel in your heart that this message is for you, write in the comments, "I accept God's timing." You might be in a common place right now, your room, taking a short break from work, or perhaps try to find a moment of peace amidst the daily chaos. Stop for a second. Feel the tranquility beginning to fill the air around you. That sense of peace, that relief you feel in your chest, is not ordinary. It is the presence of the sacred entering your personal space to remind you that you are not alone. Your spirit recognizes a truth before your mind can explain it. That lump in your throat or that sudden calm is your soul saying, "Finally, this is what I needed to hear." It's not anxiety. It's the recognition that the deep is calling to the deep. Often, the enemy of our peace tries to convince us that we're too late. He whispers that our opportunities have passed, or that our past failures have canceled God's plan for us. But the divine word teaches us that there is a concept called divine appointment. It's not just any time. It's a specific moment, carved out from eternity exclusively for you. That thought that nothing works or that God has forgotten me is just noise trying to distract you from the truth. Doubt's hold on your life is being broken today. It doesn't matter what you see in your current circumstances or what human logic dictates. What matters is that the one who began the work in you is faithful to complete it. Many believe that delay is a punishment. They carry the weight of guilt, thinking they made an irreparable mistake, and that's why the door remains closed. They look in the mirror and ask themselves, "Why not me?" They see the progress of others, and, although they rejoice, a small inner voice tells them they aren't worthy of the same light. But today we're going to dismantle that lie. The waiting period isn't an exam you failed, but a process of maturation that's preparing you for something much greater than you could imagine. Sometimes, the silence of the heavens can lead us into a painful mental trap. We begin to look around and ask ourselves, what do they have that I don't? Why do others seem to move forward effortlessly while I remain stuck in the same place? Perhaps you've tried to do twice as much, seeking answers to more hours of reflection, deeper surrender, or striving to be perfect in the eyes of the divine, thinking that if you do enough, you will finally be worthy of being heard. You've been viewing this waiting period as a sign of stagnation, as if you were repeating a lesson you should have already mastered while the rest of the world moves on. That feeling of being left behind has created a quiet discomfort, a kind of shame that has led you to do something very sad. You stopped talking about your dreams. I remember how you used to joyfully share what you felt life held in store for you. But the passage of time and the doubtful glances of others made you lock those treasures away. You grew tired of the awkward questions and the well-intentioned advice that only sowed doubt about whether you had truly listened to your inner voice. You buried your dreams to avoid having to explain yourself, and now you smile out of obligation, saying everything is fine, when inside your soul whispers, "How much longer must I wait?" But today I'm here to tell you that the story of the failed exam is a lie. You're not late for your purpose. In fact, you're early. The wait isn't a punishment for your mistakes, but rather the time when the heavens are preparing the stage for your well-being. Write in the comments, "I trust in the divine process," and let that affirmation seal your peace today. Think about this. When someone important throws a banquet, they don't do it at the last minute. The preparations begin long before the guest arrives. The table is set, the venue is decorated, and every detail is taken care of in advance. What you call delay is simply divine preparation. While you were wandering through the desert feeling forgotten, heaven was choosing the best for your life, ensuring that when you arrive, everything will be perfect. You couldn't see it because it was happening behind the veil of the everyday. Your time of solitude wasn't confinement, but rather an exclusive access to maturity. Every tear you shed in intimacy was collected with absolute tenderness. There's a beautiful truth in ancient scriptures that says each of our sorrows is recorded as if it were a sacred text. To the divine, your process is as valuable as the most important laws of creation. That's how seriously heaven takes your well-being. The depth of your suffering today is determining the magnitude of the joy you will receive. It's a law of spiritual balance. The deeper the chasm, the more space there is for blessings to fill it. Therefore, today is a day to stop begging and start waiting with your head held high. Stop asking why and start preparing for when. I know you're wondering where the signs of this change are. The truth is, you've been receiving them, but you were expecting a big bang when the heavens usually speak in whispers. Perhaps in recent days you've noticed small signs. A repeating sequence of numbers on a clock, a message on a billboard that seems written just for you, or even the name of someone you haven't seen in years suddenly popping into your head. These are not coincidences. They are subtle invitations that say, "We see you. We are working in your favor." Pay attention to these small details, because they're the echo of a higher reality that is already manifesting in your present. That person who crossed your mind isn't a ghost from the past, but someone connected to the new season approaching in your life. Sometimes, the divine orchestrates encounters so perfectly that when the time comes to sit down together, you'll see that each place has been assigned with a wisdom beyond your understanding. That was your second sign, a clear invitation that the threads of your destiny are shifting once again. Even your nights have changed. Perhaps you've been waking up at a specific time, night after night, thinking it's just a weight of stress or simple insomnia. But the body doesn't have such precise timing by accident. It's a call to silence, an awakening in the secret place where the heavens seek to unload within you the guidance for what's to come. Those moments of wakefulness are, in reality, a direct invitation to reconnect with your purpose before the sun rises. There's a dream you had months ago, something that initially filled you with excitement, but which you ended up locking away for fear of criticism or the indifference of others. You fell out of place and decided to erase it from your mental notes. But look closely. In recent weeks, something, a melody, a random word, an image, has brought that dream back to your memory. God is telling you that what He showed you is still valid. The promise hasn't expired. It was simply waiting for its moment to be activated. You must understand that divine invitations are not merely informative. They are activations. Every time you recognize one of these signs and say within yourself, "Yes, I accept this path," you are turning a spiritual key. You are opening the door to what was already written for you before you even set foot in this world. Nothing you are experiencing is an improvisation. Everything has been planned with astonishing precision. Your well-being is already in heaven's timeline. However, this is where many make a common mistake. They receive the sign, acknowledge the invitation, but then sit back and wait for everything to magically happen without changing anything within themselves. They think patience is passivity, but it isn't. Receiving a calling requires an active response. You have to prepare yourself to inhabit the blessing you've been asking for. Because if you don't transform your mindset, you could sabotage the peace you've been seeking. Write in the comments with faith, I am ready for the new. There are specific actions you must take to avoid facing your new reality with the wrong tools. The first step is to avoid a void of purpose. Many believe that preparing is simply reading or talking more, but true spiritual preparation consists of building capacity. For something new and significant to take root in your life, there must be a place where it can be contained. Remember the lesson of multiplication. Divine provision flowed as long as there were empty vessels to receive it. The miracle didn't stop for lack of resources, but because there was no more room. This is a vital principle. Your capacity determines how much you can receive. If your life is saturated with noise, resentment, or habits that no longer belong to you, you leave no space for new light to settle. Therefore, your first task in this preparation protocol is to perform an internal cleansing. I don't mean anything physical, but rather a purging of that which occupies unnecessary space in your heart. In the next few hours, reflect on what old feelings or thoughts you're holding on to that no longer fit with the person you're becoming. Free up the space, because spiritual abundance is looking for an outlet. When I speak of cleansing, I'm not referring solely to a physical act, although external order helps. I'm talking about a deep purging of your mental and spiritual state. To inhabit this new season, you need to identify 3 things that currently occupy space in your life but no longer belong to you. You must release them so that the light can enter unobstructed. Perhaps it's a relationship that's been draining you for months. You're always the one giving, always seeking, while on the other side there's only silence or demands. That person is occupying a seat at your table that belongs to someone truly aligned with your destiny. You don't need a dramatic conflict or to burn bridges. You just need to create healthy distance. Stop always being available to someone who doesn't value your presence and allow that seat to empty so the right person can take it. Write this short statement in the comments. I let go of what no longer builds me up. Perhaps the obstacle is a habit that keeps you anchored to a version of yourself you should have left behind long ago. Spending hours in front of a screen, wasting time instead of resting, or complaining to the same people about the same problems without taking a single step toward a solution. That habit is a vessel already full of something useless. You have to empty it. Or perhaps what you're carrying is an old dream that has run its course. God is assigning you a new task, but your hands are too busy holding on to the old. Let it go. You can't receive the new if you cling to what's already happened. The second step is logistical preparation. When the great leaders of faith were about to cross over to their destination, they didn't just prepare in prayer. They prepared provisions and organized their camp. This is prophetic action. Find an area of your life where you can make a physical change that symbolizes your growth. It can be something as simple as organizing a corner of your home for moments of reflection, or clearing space on your desk for that project that's been burning in your heart. By doing so, you're saying to heaven, I'm not just waiting for change. I'm building the structure to receive it. However, the third step requires your utmost caution. The announcement. This is where many fail. In the excitement of the moment, some feel the need to tell everyone about their plans, to post them online, or to share them with people who aren't mature enough to understand. By doing this, we sometimes unwittingly invite doubt or jealousy from others into our lives. There is ancient wisdom that warns us not to give our treasures to those who don't know how to value them. Some people, without saying a word, will wonder, why them and not me? That vibration of envy can create cracks in your preparation process. That's why, during this phase, silence is your best protection. Share your feelings only with that one person you know will truly walk with you in faith, someone who is an honest support. Others will find out when the change is evident. Now, I want to be very honest with you, because I sense that some of you are feeling a tightness in your chest right now. It's a discomfort that comes from deep within. And the real reason some of the chosen ones fail to enter their season of peace has nothing to do with external attacks or fate. It's something much more intimate and human. It's fear. But it's not fear of failure. It's fear that the blessing will actually arrive. You're afraid that when you finally reach that well-being, you'll feel like an imposter. You're terrified that the light will be so bright it will highlight your insecurities, or that you'll think you're not worthy enough to hold so much good. There's a voice that has whispered to you for years. If they really knew who you were, they wouldn't call you chosen. But today we're going to silence that voice, because your worth doesn't depend on your perfection, but on the faithfulness of the one who called you. That voice that whispers you're a fraud is one of the oldest tools used to hold back the chosen ones. It tells you that if others saw your thoughts from yesterday, or the struggles you still secretly battle, they would realize you don't deserve the glory heaven has bestowed upon you. It convinces you that you haven't prayed enough, that you haven't read enough, or that your constant self-doubt disqualifies you. That voice even goes so far as to tell you that if God blesses you, the standards of what is sacred will be lowered, as if you were beating the system against the divine. That's why, subconsciously, you've been sabotaging your own progress. You don't do it out of malice, but out of a distorted sense of integrity, believing that if you're not perfect, you shouldn't be blessed. It's more comfortable to remain small and hidden than to be elevated and have your imperfections exposed. Write in the comments with conviction, "I am worthy by the grace of God." But here's the truth that will shatter that lie. Condemnation doesn't come from above. The Holy Spirit doesn't condemn to destroy, but convicts to restore. If you look back, you'll see that the greatest stories of faith weren't about perfect people. Heaven has a specialty, orchestrating moments of glory for those who, according to the world, don't deserve them. If we earn it through our own efforts, it wouldn't be a gift, it would be payment. But spiritual well-being is an act of pure love. God rejoices to see you overflowing with peace despite your flaws, because when people ask you how you achieved it, you won't be able to say it was through my own merit, but rather it was through a higher power. That is what truly honors the purpose of your life. Let's dismantle the 4 lies that are blocking your path. I haven't suffered enough yet. Suffering is not a bargaining chip. Don't try to outdo the sacrifice that has already been made for you. Your well-being has already been paid for. Stop trying to earn with pain what is offered to you with love. I'll mess it up like last time. Your past isn't a pattern, it's a lesson. Your history doesn't limit the promises made to you. Heaven doesn't act based on your mistakes of yesterday, but on its faithfulness of today. People will envy me if I move forward. Other people's envy is not your limit. You are not responsible for managing other people's insecurities. If someone cannot celebrate your light, that only reveals their own wound, not your lack of merit. God will change his mind. Divine will is not capricious. When something has been said to be for you, it stands firm. It doesn't back down because of a bad day you've had. So far, we've talked about emotional peace and mental revelation, and that's fundamental. But there's a dimension to this feast that the Spirit is showing me that's very practical for your daily life. Sometimes we're afraid to talk about material, provision, because we don't want to sound superficial. But the reality is that your life needs balance in all areas. A season of order and provision is coming that will seem incredible. I'm not talking about magic solutions, but rather an opening of pathways where what was stagnant will begin to flow. In the coming weeks, you'll see the first signs of stability begin to appear. It's as if the floodgates of provision, which have been closed for years, are finally opening in response to your faith. Place your hands in front of you right now, palms facing upward. Feel the air and space above them. That sensation of weight you feel is symbolic of the responsibility and abundance that are about to enter your physical reality. This isn't just spiritual metaphors. It's a transformation that will affect your tangible well-being, your projects, and the tranquility of your home. I know this might sound too good to be true, but light doesn't just illuminate the spirit. It also illuminates the path your feet walk each day. I know that talking about balance in life can sometimes raise doubts. Some fear that promises of well-being are just empty words. But what I want to share with you today doesn't stem from a personal opinion, but from observing a pattern of fulfillment in those who choose to walk in alignment with their purpose. Heaven allows me to see today a dimension of your life that has to do with the restoration of what you thought was lost. There's a promise of restitution that goes far beyond simply getting back what's gone. We often think of restoration as return to square one, starting over, or getting out of debt. However, in the deepest sense, restoration means complete wholeness. When the sacred enters your story, it doesn't just replace what time or hardship has taken away. It gives you an overflowing measure, a peace that more than compensates for every moment of scarcity you've had to endure. It's not just balance. It's a multiplication of your well-being. Write in the comments with gratitude. I receive my complete restoration. We've been taught that if we're faithful in small things, we'll be entrusted with much. The heavens are arranging a season for you where paths open up in ways you can't imagine. This isn't a stroke of luck, but rather the activation of 7 currents of well-being that will begin to manifest in your reality. The first trend involves recovering what has been forgotten. In the coming days, you may experience solutions to immediate problems through unexpected resources. Streamlined processes, a benefit that becomes available, or a small relief that arrives just in time to remind you that a force is moving in your favor. The second current is the return of justice. What you painstakingly sowed in the past, whether time, support, or resources, will begin to come back to you. People or situations from your past will recognize your worth and feel compelled to reciprocate. It is the flow of gratitude manifesting in your present. The third current is that of new opportunities. You'll see doors open that you hadn't even considered. Projects or collaborations that weren't on your radar will appear, offering you a more solid foundation of peace of mind. It won't be your usual primary source of income, but a new stream of well-being that begins to flow. The fourth factor is the favor of those with influence. People in positions of authority or decision-making will begin to see your potential and champion your cause. Without you having to push, paths will be approved and proposals that previously seemed stalled will be accepted. The fifth current originates from your own mind, inspired ideas. You'll experience moments of absolute clarity where projects with real and practical value will emerge. If you act promptly on this inner guidance, you'll see how a simple idea transforms into a source of stability in no time. The sixth current is that of unexpected generosity. This season, someone will feel drawn to bless you without your asking. It could be support, a gift, or the resolution of a burdensome commitment. It's heaven using human hearts to show you its care. Finally, the seventh current is acceleration. Everything you have patiently planted will begin to grow at a rate that defies common sense. You will see your efforts multiply and know, with absolute certainty, that it is not just your work, but the hand provision accelerating your results. The most beautiful aspect of this process is that these currents won't arrive one by one in isolation, but will begin to intertwine. As the weeks go by, you'll notice that various aspects of your life are flowing simultaneously towards stability that today seems distant. It's not a miraculous promise. It's the result of aligning your faith with action. The moment you begin to notice the first signs of restoration, it's natural for certain forms of opposition to arise. Don't see them as an insurmountable obstacle, but rather as an opportunity to demonstrate the strength of your new mindset. If you're unfamiliar with these dynamics, you might be tempted to retreat, but today I'll guide you in recognizing them and winning every internal battle. The first form of opposition is that of close skepticism. It usually appears very early, right after your first breakthrough. Someone whose opinion you value will question your newfound energy or renewed hope. They'll say things like, "Don't get your hopes up just yet," or "Are you sure this is real?" It often sounds like legitimate concern, but it's really doubt trying to take root in your heart through a familiar voice. How do you win this battle? Simply acknowledge their intention, but remember inwardly that other people's fears don't have to limit you. Don't try to convince them or get into arguments. Let your inner peace speak for you. Their doubts have no power over the promise that has already begun to blossom in your life. Write in the comments with conviction, "My faith is greater than any doubt." The second test is a challenge of prioritization. Just when you receive relief or a small sign of provision, an unexpected setback can arise. Something that needs fixing at home or an unplanned expense. It's a crucial moment. Will you panic, thinking the blessing won't last? Or will you act with a certainty that this is just a small bump in the road to abundance? When you respond with calm and responsibility, you demonstrate that you are ready to handle greater levels of stability. Shortly after, you might experience a wave of physical exhaustion. You'll feel profoundly tired, but it will be a strange tiredness, devoid of any sadness. Don't be alarmed. It's your body processing a change of pace, adapting to a new reality where constant stress is being replaced by serenity. Rest without guilt. Your whole being is aligning with this new season. One of the most profound tests is forgiveness. People from your past or situations that hurt you may resurface in your mind, or even try to contact you. This happens because you can't fully enter this new phase of your life carrying the weight of resentment. Bitterness creates leaks in your well-being. How do you overcome it? By forgiving wholeheartedly, which doesn't always mean resuming contact. You can release the person within you and wish them well, while maintaining the necessary boundaries to protect your growth. Opportunities for distraction will also arise. Things that seem good but aren't right. They'll be presented with an artificial urgency, demanding an immediate yes, without giving you time to reflect. Remember this. If something requires you to sacrifice your peace or prayer time to decide right now, it's probably not the path heaven has laid out for you. What is meant for you will bring you peace, not anxiety. Around the 4th week of this process, you might face an identity crisis. The familiar feeling of not being enough will hit you just as things start to improve. You'll ask yourself, who am I to receive so much well-being? Don't let imposter syndrome disqualify you. Say out loud, I am who the light says I am. Your worth is a gift, not something you have to constantly prove. Finally, avoid the trap of premature satisfaction. When you see the first results, you'll feel a great sense of relief and might think, that's enough, I'll stop here. But what you've seen so far is just a beginning, the first step on a much longer journey. Receive each advance with gratitude, but keep your expectations high. Don't settle for temporary relief when what's being offered is a permanent transformation. I know this may sound idealistic, but I've seen it manifest in real lives. People who were stuck in deep ruts, burdened with seemingly insurmountable responsibilities, began to see amazing opportunities open up as they applied these principles. From unexpected job offers to the resolution of legal conflicts that have been stalled for years. These aren't coincidences. It's the result of faith that is prepared and acts with wisdom. I've seen how people who felt stuck, with no apparent way out, began to experience amazing turns in their lives. These aren't stories I've made up. They're real-life accounts of people who applied the wisdom I'm sharing with you today. I remember the case of an entrepreneur who, after putting his life in spiritual order, saw a contract he thought was lost suddenly revived. Or the story of a woman who, at 58, thought her time to shine had passed, but ended up creating a project that not only gave her stability, but also allowed her to retire with dignity from a job that was draining her. These results are possible when you understand that receiving the blessing is only the first step. The real challenge, where many stumble, is knowing how to preserve and multiply it. Many celebrate the initial relief and then, due to a lack of organization, watch that peace slip away as quickly as it arrived. For your initial breakthrough to become a lifestyle and not just a fleeting event, we need to apply what I call the conscious multiplication formula. Before revealing these steps, I invite you to interact with us. If you believe that order brings blessings, write in the comments, I am a good steward of my peace. The first step is the reflection of active gratitude. The moment you receive any sign of provision or well-being, the first thing you should do is give a portion to help others. Before settling accounts, before taking care of your own obligations, set aside a generous gesture, 10%, for a worthy cause, a ministry, or someone experiencing genuine need. Why is this vital? Because it signals to the universe and the divine that you are not a closed vessel, but a channel. Well-being that stagnates does not grow. Well-being that flows multiplies. By giving first, you sow the seeds of your next harvest. The second step is the clear vision system. You need to organize your mind and your reality into 3 fundamental categories. Immediate well-being, 50% to cover your basic needs and current commitments with honesty. Growth sowing, 30%, this is the resource you allocate to your preparation, to new tools or to projects that will elevate your life to the next level. Serenity fund, 20% of space you don't touch. This shows that you're not acting from desperation, but from abundance. When you demonstrate that you can wisely manage little, the heavens feel confident enough to give you much. The third step is the sacred silence protocol. For the first 7 days after receiving a breakthrough, do not share it with the world. Keep it to yourself, to the divine, and perhaps to one person you absolutely trust who you know will pray with you. Unnecessary noise and comments from those who are not ready to celebrate your victory can create energy leaks in your process. Let the blessings settle and take root in your life before making it public. Testimony is most powerful when the transformation is already solid. The fourth step is a renewal test. In the second week of your new season, identify something old that you must definitively let go of because the new has arrived. It could be a debt you can finally pay off, a scarcity habit you must abandon, or even a way of talking about yourself that no longer fits the blessed person you become. You can't walk into the future carrying the baggage of a struggle that's over. Maintaining peace requires strategy and maturity. It's not enough to simply wish for well-being. You must build a mental and spiritual structure capable of holding it without it becoming overwhelming. You are learning to be not only a recipient of miracles, but also a steward of light. One of the biggest obstacles to maintaining your well-being is the fear that it won't be enough. Ironically, even when you receive a clear answer from heaven, that old belief tries to convince you that the supply will soon run out. But understand this. Every old thought you cling to is occupying a space where something new is trying to land. You can't hold yesterday's peace and tomorrow's peace with the same closed hand. You must let go of one to receive the other with complete confidence. The fifth step in our formula is the expectation reset. By the third or fourth week of your progress, you'll be tempted to settle. As the pressure eases and you finally have a breather, your mind will whisper, "This is enough. Let's not ask for more. Let's keep what we have." That's a stagnation trap. What you've just received isn't your ceiling. It's your new floor. You're not meant to stay there, but to rise from that base. Write in the comments in a firm voice, "This is my new beginning, not my limit." When you're alone, declare with conviction, "This is my new normal. I'm not just looking for maintenance. I expect growth." God doesn't simply want you to be comfortable. He wants you to become a living testament to abundance. But for this to work, your identity must change along with your circumstances. You can have stability in your resources and still think like someone who's broke. And thinking from a place of lack will always end up attracting lack, no matter how much you have today. I want us to do an identity exercise right now. Not tomorrow, it's tonight. As you listen to my voice, I want you to look at yourself honestly. How is your posture? Are your shoulders tense or hunched? Mentally, straighten your back, lift your chin, and take a deep breath. This isn't just a physical change. It's a real-time shift in frequency. The old self says, "I hope this lasts." The new self says, "I know there's more to come." The old self is grateful for the rest. The new self celebrates the beginning of a great work. Heaven doesn't respond only to your words or your repetitive prayers. It responds to your inner frequency. If you vibrate in tune with abundance, you will attract abundance. True transformation happens when you stop being an improved version of your old self and become a completely new creation with a different frequency. Let's look at these 5 indicators to help you evaluate your progress. Expectation of well-being. You no longer see peace as a strange miracle, but as something normal. You don't expect it to happen. You assume it's your natural state. Generosity of heart. You don't give for what you have left over, but you give with a certainty that there will always be more. Your generosity is proof of your faith in constant provision. Master of your purpose. You stop trying to help and understand that you have a divine assignment. You are not a volunteer. You are chosen with a clear mandate to solve problems and bless others. Effortless attraction. You stop desperately chasing opportunities. Now, your own frequency causes favor and open doors to find you. Rest in certainty. You change, "I hope God would do it someday," to "God is doing it now." You live in the present moment, knowing that the blessing is already in motion. Reflect on these points within yourself. This isn't to judge yourself, but to help you identify where you need to raise your awareness. You are leaving behind the identity of struggle to inhabit the identity of promise. I want to share with you what I envision as a roadmap for your transformation over the next 30 days. God allows me to see that this process will not be a chaotic event, but a series of ordered stages that you must keep in mind so as not to lose your way. From the first to the third, we enter the confirmation phase. In these first 72 hours, you will begin to notice small signs that the universe is working in your favor. It might be an unexpected message, a simple resolution that was pending, or seeing that sequence of numbers that reminds you you're not alone. Don't dismiss it as a coincidence. Your only task during these 3 days is to observe and be grateful for every detail, no matter how small. Gratitude is the fuel for what comes next. From the 4th to the 7th, you will go through the testing phase. An old situation or temptation from the past may try to resurface one last time. This is not a punishment, but a test of maturity. The universe wants to confirm that you have truly closed the door on your old patterns before embracing the new. Your task here is to remain calm and not give in to the drama. Simply say no, thank you to what no longer belongs to you, and keep walking with your head held high. Write in the comments right now, I overcome my trials with peace. From the 8th to the 14th, we will experience the first activation. This is where you will see the arrival of a resource or opportunity from a source you weren't aware of. It will be just enough to resolve an immediate matter that has been troubling you. God is showing you that He knows your needs in detail. Your responsibility will be to receive it and apply it wisely, remembering to separate a gesture of generosity from your own and to organize your priorities. If you manage this first stream well, you will be preparing the ground for the next one. From the 15th to the 21st, we reach the realignment of connections. You will notice a profound change in your social circle. People who drain your energy will naturally drift away without conflict, and people aligned with your new frequency will begin to appear. Don't force departures or question arrivals. Simply accept that the divine is reorganizing your environment so that those around you will be a support, not an obstacle to your purpose. From the 22nd to the 28th, the window of great breakthrough opens. This is the moment when what you prayed for so fervently, that project, that healing, or that stability, finally manifests. The curious thing is that it will arrive when you have ceased to be desperate, when your soul is operating from a place of rest and not anxiety. Your task when this happens is not to panic at the magnitude of the good you have received. Act naturally, like someone receiving something they already knew was coming. Finally, from the 29th to the 30th, we will enter the integration phase. This phase is crucial because it is when old stressful habits will try to creep back in. It is a time to solidify your new identity and understand that this piece is not an accident, but your new permanent reality. As you reach the end of this first 30-day cycle, you will face a challenge that most of the chosen ones don't see coming. It doesn't happen during the storm, but just as the sky clears. It is a silent test, and therefore it can be fatal to your purpose if you are not vigilant. Just when the third or fourth wave of well-being lands in your life, when responsibilities are finally covered and you can breathe with relief you haven't felt in years, a very subtle voice will whisper in your ear, "That's it. You made it. Don't ask for more. Be content with this before something goes wrong." That voice sounds wise. It sounds humble. It even sounds grateful, but it's a trap of stagnation. What has come into your life isn't the final goal. It's merely the first part of fulfillment you've been promised. The risk here is that you'll celebrate the appetizer as if it were the entire banquet and miss out on the main course. Write in the comments with determination, "I am grateful for what I have, and I look forward to what is to come." Imagine receiving that sign of provision that resolves your immediate crisis. The panic disappears. You sleep peacefully again, and the next morning you feel you no longer need to believe with the same intensity. You tell yourself, "I don't want to be greedy. It's better to stay here so as not to risk what I've already gained." Listen carefully. That's not gratitude. It's fear disguised as humility. It's the hidden fear that if you keep moving forward, God will take away what He's already given you. It's the false belief that wanting to achieve total fulfillment makes you ungrateful for the first steps. But the truth is, the blessing you just received wasn't the final destination, but rather confirmation that you're on the right path. God didn't bring you to this point of relief just to leave you there. What you received is heaven saying, "I kept my word to you. Now keep watching, because what's coming will make what you have today seem like just a small sample." The final test before the complete transformation is this. Will you settle for good when extraordinary is only 3 weeks away? Many choose to stop because settling down feels responsible or practical. They tell themselves they're being realistic, that they're not ambitious, and that they're content with their lot. But there's a vital difference you must understand. True contentment is being at peace during the process, while settling is halting the process out of fear of greatness. Don't confuse peace with paralysis. Keep your faith active, because the feast is just beginning. Complacency is a refuge of fear, but you are not called to take refuge, but to move forward. The way to overcome this final test is simple yet profound. Every time a sign of well-being comes into your life, celebrate it with genuine joy. Honor what God has done, but immediately afterward, with an open heart, ask, "Thank you, Father, what's next?" Keep your expectation alive, because the feast doesn't end with the first relief. That's just where the real story begins. However, there is one final warning. Do not allow the blessing to isolate you. The enemy will try to convince you that, now that you are well, you no longer need others. But divine abundance is communal. The ascent you are experiencing is not just for you. It is for you to bring light to your circle, so that those who prayed with you in the desert may also see the fruit of faithfulness. Do not disconnect from your purpose or your community. True fullness multiplies when it is shared. Write in the comments one last time, "I'm entering my party now." Remember what I told you at the beginning. This message is for a specific person, and that person is you. God has been recording every step of your journey. Those nights of tears at 3 a.m, those prayers whispered in absolute darkness when you thought no one was listening. Heaven recorded them with astonishing clarity. Every betrayal you suffered, every time you were ignored or replaced, was cataloged not to shame you, but to make amends. The depth of your wound has determined the magnitude of your restoration. Everything you lost is being repaid with divine interest. Heaven saw when your account reached 0, and yet you still chose gratitude. That was your test of integrity, and today it is announced that you have passed. Your pain is not simply relegated to a forgotten journal. It is archived as a sacred text that today transforms into a testament of victory. The time of rehearsals is over. Today begins your feature film of blessing. Now, I want you to prepare to seal this moment, not just in your mind, but with your voice. Place your open hands, palms facing upward, in a posture of total receptivity, and repeat these activation affirmations with me. I accept this invitation with both hands and say, "Yes, I accept my identity as the chosen one for this season. I align myself with the celestial calendar. My well-being is now. I declare that my cup overflows and I expect more than enough. Heaven has heard your every word. In this moment, the veil between the everyday and the sacred is thin. As a messenger of this truth, I seal in your life the feast you thought would never come. I seal the cleansing of your space for the next 72 hours and the activation of the 7 streams of provision. I declare that you will manage with wisdom and that your frequency has shifted forever. Today I bind every spirit of unworthiness that tries to tell you that you don't deserve this. I bind the scarcity and the fear that whispers that this is too good to be true. They have no power over you. In the next 8 to 14 days, you will see the first flow of response. And between days 22 and 28, the breakthrough you almost gave up on will manifest before your eyes. In 40 days, when someone asks you what's changed in your life, you won't just have words, you'll have proof. Heaven has heard your yes. Your name has been announced in the heavenly courts. You are officially released from the desert, the waiting room, and the season of almost fulfilled promises. You are free. Enter your celebration. Be silent for a minute. Let this peace penetrate you to your very core. The process is over. Reality has begun.